These days, open world can be considered its own genre. You can find accurate depiction of real-life cities or countries, huge fictional expanses with their own landmark, complete worlds to check out, or even entire galaxies, depending on where you want to go your next open world gaming adventure. Number 7.
Ah, the San Francisco Bay.
Watch Dogs 2. In a world where Grand Theft Auto 5 exists, it can be difficult to release another modern open-world city-based game. But Ubisoft found a way to freshen up the formula by adding hacking. Dark Souls-like game invasions, sharper social and political commentary. Watch Dogs 2 does all that in a slightly condensed, caricatured, but believable recreation of San Francisco. In terms of standard Ubisoft open-world games, there may not have been much expectation from Watch Dogs 2. As it turns out, it was surprisingly fun, if you were sneaking across rooftops, or navigating around San Francisco. Gaining followers, hacking into the private lives of citizens, and completing the myriad of other tasks available. The troubles of main character Marcus, and misfit hacker group DED Seconds, make for a far more satisfying and friendly backdrop than that of the first game. The sequel was finally allowed to take the, which is frankly hilarious, hacking mechanic, and have a bit of fun with it. Number 6.
You should have acted. They're already here. The Elder Scrolls told of their return. Their defeat was merely a delay. To the time after Oblivion opened. When the sons of Skyrim would spill their own blood. But no one wanted to believe they even existed. And when the truth finally dawns, it dawns in fire.
The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim.
There's one they fear. In their tongue, he's Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
Skyrim is one of those games we return to over again, and the magic is always there. Its replayability comes from the hundreds of different ways to play through this open-world RPG, from typical character builds like Thief and Warrior, to trying to play the whole game as a vegan, or role-playing as a character from the game's lore. Skyrim's open world is filled with character and beasts, going on about their daily business without you, and you'll often happen across a Gant kicking a poor wolf into orbit, or a couple of Thalmor escorting a captured Nord. This fantasy open-world RPG explores the vast and spectacular region of Skyrim, where you play as a Dragonborn, a prophesied hero thrown amid a tense civil war. The world is heavily inspired by the environments of countries like Norway and Iceland, taking their history, culture, flora, folklore, and mudding them together with the Elder Scrolls' realistic brand of high fantasy. Number 5.
This pain is ours.
If we fail, we lose our chance of revenge.
When the time comes, I'll pull the trigger.
Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
You're on your own.
I like working solo anyway.
You're a legend in the eyes of those who live on the battlefield.
Metal Gear Solid 5 earns its place in this list for two reasons. It's the first Metal Gear Solid game to make it to PC, and it's the only open-world MGS game where we are not counting Survive. Many were skeptical of the genre shift ahead of its release, but Metal Gear Solid 5 ended up being one of the most satisfying, immersive, and entertaining open-world games ever made. Metal Gear Solid 5 is a war game that offers an incredible amount of content. There are at least a couple of hundred missions for starters. The stealth systems are fantastic, with loads of moving pieces fitting together, like polished clockwork. Light cover, stance, and noise are all things you have to be careful of, and if you arouse suspicion, the guards can even communicate via walkie-talkie, or even with other bases if reinforcements are needed. The open world adds so much to these stealth mechanics. By expanding the game's scope, you can observe outposts from miles away, and make a plan of attack, and the game gives you complete freedom to do things however you like, no matter how crazy.
Burn with the rest of them.
Boss, get out of there!
What goes around comes around.
Number 4.
Everything can change in an instant, whether or not you're ready.
This wasn't the world I wanted, but it was the one I found myself in. This time I'm ready. Because I know war.
War never changes.
I have a question. The only question that matters. Would you risk your life for your fellow man, even if that man is a synth?
Fallout 4.
Beneath the Commonwealth, there is a cancer, known as the Institute. A malignant growth that needs to be cut before it infects the surface.
They're the real enemy, not the Raiders, not the super mutants.
You can sink a lot of hours into Fallout. From traversing the dusty post-apocalyptic plains to scavenging hidden resources, to build a base survive this new uncertain future. The retro-futuristic wasteland of Boston Ma is brimming with adventures, memorable characters, and more locations than you could visit over the course of the 100 hours playthrough. Fallout 4, probably one of the most controversial open-world games titles, and sequels this generation. Though its loop of exploring, shooting, and looting can be incredibly addictive. Some fans took issue with the streamlined mechanics, and perk systems. Even if you ignore the settlements and Radiant quests, there are plenty of interesting stories to uncover. Before you set off in your hazmat suit to explore the wastes, be sure to check out the Beginner's Guide to Fallout 4, or if you are ahead of the curve, the game of course released in 2015, then see the guides to all the best Fallout 4 mods, and Fallout 4 console commands, to tweak the experience further.
The Institute finds you.
Let's go, boy.
Number 3.
Once we were many. Now we are few.
The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt.
Killers of the world's filth. Witchers, the ultimate killing machines. Among us, a legend. The one they call Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf.
While its world broken up into a series of miniature open-world regions, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt fills each one with enough details and character that they feel like one cohesive world. Whether you are tracking beasts across the battle-scarred plains of Velen, exploring the cobbled street of Novigrad, or skulking through ancient woodlands, CD Projekt Red have crafted a world that feels authentic and fantastical in equal measure.
I shall give her what she deserves.
And your exploration through these rugged locals is constantly rewarded with new quests, characters, beasts, and encounters. In The Witcher 3, you never want fast travel around the map for fear of missing out on a new and exciting adventure, and what higher praise could there be for an open-world game? Full of unique locations and things to discover sealed the deal on what was an amazing game. Sure, the combat was just fine, but that didn't take away from what was essentially Geralt last hurrah, or two substantial and excellently made DLC. Number 2.
We got piggies. Town looks like a war zone. Where do you want me? Water tower, got it.
Far Cry 5.
I'm in position.
The latest chapter in the Far Cry series takes players to the US and still manages to feel like a far cry from civilization. Hope County, Montana, is the gorgeous open world players get to explore this time around, but you will have to share the experience with murderous cultists and deadly wildlife like bears, mountains, lions, and wolverines on your way to your particular Far Cry 5 ending. Most open world games see you journeying from point A to B to get anything done, but Far Cry 5 packs an incredible amount of excitement between those points courtesy of random encounters. Expect to be distracted by enemy jeeps, bears, VIP soldiers, roadblocks, hostage situations, car chassis, or aerial bombardments, often all at once. Far Cry 5 does its damnedest to keep players in a constant state of distraction, making it very easy to lose yourself in Big Sky Country. To top it all off, while it doesn't work as well as a cop game where missions are concerned, it does work brilliantly when just screwing around in the open world. Join a friend, pick a place to go to, and wait for the fireworks to start. You won't be waiting long in Far Cry 5. Number 1. Red Dead Redemption 2. In Red Dead Redemption 2, you'll play as Arthur Morgan, a wanted outlaw and part of the Van der Linde gang, led by the infamous and duplicitous Dutch. Even though the gang's fate is sealed, hope is an involuntary reaction that will carry you through this melancholy love letter to the Old West. But it's Rockstar's immensely detailed open world that makes Red Dead Redemption 2 so special. The diverse landscape changes from frozen lakes and snowy mountain edges to dusty plains and murky swamp waters. NPCs are responsive to your character's honor bar and will react to your presence in town, depending on how well behaved you've been. If a bounty is out for you, you'll need to visit the local post office to pay it off, before you can enter freely into wanted territory, or risk being hunted down by bounty hunters. Red Dead Redemption 2 lets you play as you please. Although story missions open up, or close off different areas, you are mostly free to roam the expansive American frontier. From meeting strangers on the side of a road, plodding into town to get a haircut, to tracking down legendary animals in the serif terrain of the Grizzlies. You'll want to touch every part of Red Dead Redemption 2's intriguing and captivating open world. Bonus. Grand Theft Auto 5. With 3 completely different dysfunctional characters to choose from in the story, all with their own calamitous problems and selfish motivation, exploring Los Santos suddenly becomes a very characterful experience. The missions are well designed and varied, not to mention well written. Then again, you could forget the missions entirely, and try one of the many side activities like golf, tennis, or drug-fueled rampages. If that's not enough, there's also GTA Online, which builds on what's great about the sandbox game, and adds dozens of other players, introducing them to races, heists, battle royale, biker gangs, and a much more. There are even GTS 5 mods, which allow you to do all of this as Superman, or Magneto, create weapons that fire cows, or just drop random whales from the sky. This is all about today's video. Subscribe our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.
Try to be a good person. Shouldn't you wear a bell around your neck, wanna get slept, fool? You ridiculous.